Hey guys, so today I wanted to do something a little bit different, and it feels a little bit weird to be speaking to camera so like informally, because I tend to do how-tos and tutorials all around e-commerce and email marketing. So what I wanted to do today was talk a little bit more about the world of like digital freelancing, and I guess the good, bad and the ugly of what that looks like. And I guess also just share a little bit more about me, and hopefully you can, I don't know, get to know me a little bit better, if that is relevant at all. Maybe it isn't. So I studied economics and law and graduated in 2019. And then I was given the opportunity to move to London and spend some time in Turkey and Istanbul as well, as I was doing like modeling. Which was really fun at the time, and I did that for a few years, moved to London, and then that's when I met some people that kind of opened my eyes to this world of freelancing and of digital marketing. And so I did economics and law at university, and that was like a very kind of maths-based, obviously law is not maths-based, but like maths-based and very logical, kind of quite heavy subjects, not that creative. And I just love the idea of tapping into like different businesses and getting creative and coming up with strategies and learning how to communicate with customers and communicate with people better. So I like dived into this world. What happened was in COVID, I got stuck at home and I couldn't travel at all. So basically I was like, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my time? And I decided to make a proposal for my dad to see if I could build out his company's LinkedIn profile. So this was like writing long form articles, doing all their LinkedIn content writing, posting, managing the account, that kind of thing. And it actually went quite well. So that was like my first ever freelance client, I guess. And then from there on it built, and like I said, I met some people that opened some really important doors for me, and I'm super grateful for that, because I basically got my first client from people that didn't even know me that well, but somehow trusted that I'd be able to figure it out. And I was just doing social media management for a client that I actually still have today, even though like social media management itself is something that I kind of despise because it's so finicky, and I don't know, there's so many trends happening. I don't like being on Instagram a lot myself, so it just feels stressful to be like in that world constantly. But anyway, so I started with this client, and so I was doing social media management for her, and she wanted to create a digital course. So then I was like, okay, I think I can help with this. I put together a course structure, like this is what I think we should do. We need to have sections, objectives for every single section of the course, and like what is the overall transformation that we want people to have when they start the course to the point that they finish the course. What are all the communications throughout the course, and then how are we going to launch it? So this is like my first intro into the world of product launches and course launches, I suppose, digital products. And from then on, it kind of built. I've then found my first e-commerce client, and from there, it's kind of fallen more into the world of e-commerce. And I've helped with product launches, and I've been involved in everything from like ideation to sourcing manufacturers to doing the product launch, and then like managing the day-to-day operations of the e-commerce business. And I've like dipped my finger in all aspects of the business. And yeah, so now I'm like doing this consistently, and it's moved to become like a full-time thing that I've been doing for the past 3 to 4 years. And I can't actually believe that this has happened. I don't know how, but I always had this desire to have something that was my own, to manage my own time, and yeah, just to do something a little bit unconventional. And I know that in the world of e-commerce, Digital marketing, freelancing is not that unconventional, but in the world that I came from, my parents were like, we want you to have a profession and become an accountant or become a lawyer. And all my friends from university pretty much went into, not all of them, some of them are doing different things, but a lot of them went into like corporate spaces. So I really felt like I was doing something a little bit different. And I really liked the idea of that. So that's why I pursued it, even when times were tricky and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life and this is difficult and I need to find clients and how do I do that and how do I price myself and I'm not confident and all those kind of doubts and like it's imposter syndrome, but it's also just part of the journey of building confidence, because I needed to get some experience under my belt in order to build a bit of confidence, and then it's just like a positive reinforcement or like snowball effect. So then for the past 3 years I've been like, if I don't have to be in London, where do I want to be? And that is what took me to Lisbon. So I've been living between Lisbon, London and Cape Town for the past 3 years, and like going and digital nomading in Lisbon, which I absolutely love. It's like my second home. My main home is Cape Town, by the way, if you didn't pick up from the accent. And I guess I wanted to share some of the good, bad and ugly of living and working as a digital nomad and digital marketer, freelancer. I don't know, I actually hate all those terms, but I don't know, it's how I best describe myself. So I think let's start with the good, or should we start with the bad? Okay, let's start with the bad. No, should we start with the good? No, let's start with the bad. So I think that there is something to be said about really working in a team and having some kind of hierarchy. So the one thing is, in terms of people, there's a hierarchy in terms of knowledge, and you can kind of look ahead and look upwards and be like, this person is someone that I aspire to be or someone that I can learn from. And obviously working in a team is a great way to bring in different ideas. It like builds your people skills. You can reference your work and benchmark your work based off of someone else's work. And that really helps to create a little bit of structure for you, I can imagine, in terms of how you're progressing in your career. And there's just like a clear path forward. And even though like I don't want to be in that space, I can definitely feel that I do lack that at times. And while I do work with people and I have to, and I am part of teams, in terms of like the overall business that I'm creating for myself, I am like the only one involved. So I can only measure like my monthly growth by how I feel about it and if I'm feeling positive. And like I can also be really hard on myself, so I'm constantly like, okay, how am I improving this month? Like, what am I spending my time on? How is this growing? And yeah, so I think it's sometimes nice to have people who create that framework for you so that you don't overwhelm yourself, because it can be quite overwhelming. And then the second part of that is obviously being part of an organization. You have a lot of the processes and like organizational structure in place already. So when you come into a company, you kind of know what your task is and you can execute that quite well. Standard operating procedures, often it's there already. So with what I do, I'm often having to think about, okay, maybe this is the first time that I'm doing this for a new brand. And then I have to kind of balance my time between actually doing the work, so just diving in and getting stuck into working and creating whatever it is that needs to be created. And then I have to balance that time and then also thinking kind of outside of the like day to day, how am I going to build structures and processes for myself that will make this work easier in the future, or that I will be able to hand over to someone else to then pick up that work for me. So I definitely think it's not necessarily a negative thing. Like I quite enjoy figuring out those processes for myself and then again figuring out how I can like apply that at scale. But sometimes I'm like, oh, this is frustrating, and I just want someone to tell me what to do and tell me that I'm doing a good job, and I don't have to like stress about where this is all going. So that would be maybe like one con. I think traveling a lot is amazing, and that's definitely going to be one of my pros. But there is something to be said about breadth versus depth of experience, and I fully believe that there is a trade-off. So what I mean is, option one is you spend 3 months of the year in one country, 3 months of the year in another country, 6 months in the year in another country. So you're moving around. Maybe you're moving around even more than that. So you have a wide breadth of experience. You go, you meet some people, you have a lot of fun, and then you leave. And then you go and you meet more people and you have a lot of fun, and then you leave. And you repeat that process. So you have that experience versus a more, I would say, like the depth experience, where you decide that you're going to commit to and settle in one place, and you start to really lay foundations and lay roots down, and you feel like this is your home, and you meet people and you deepen those friendships and relationships. And yes, it's not always going to be fun and games, but you get like a depth of experience and sense of being quite settled that you don't get when you're traveling a lot. So although I absolutely love traveling, I can feel that like slight anxiety when I'm about to travel. I'm like, okay, where am I staying? Who am I going to be with? I need to book my flights. No. And it just like becomes a bit overwhelming. So that's like one possible negative thing. And then the last thing I would say is around motivation and discipline and productivity. So to work on your own, you do need to be quite disciplined. And in general, I am actually quite a disciplined person. I like routine. I wake up quite early, I exercise, I get to my desk, and I'm quite productive. And I obviously don't really have much distraction. However, what I found recently, when I went through some personal stuff with my family, was that because I was going through this emotional time, it really affected my motivation levels. So I found like I just wake up and be like, I don't want to get out of bed, I don't know what to do today. And this has never happened to me before. I'm normally like, let's go, let's be productive. I like thrive off the idea of building something for myself, and I'd be so motivated to do that every single day. But when this thing happened, it really knocked me, and I just realized how much I depend on my energy levels being strong, that I can wake up every morning and be disciplined and be productive. That's definitely something that I think if you are not freelancing, you often have someone to answer to. So you have that thing of like, okay, I know I have this strong deadline, I can't be a slacker, I don't want to be a slacker, I'm part of a wider team. So you have, again, more structure. Again, all of these are not necessarily like big enough negatives that they would scare me away from doing what I do. Like that's not even close to it, but they're definitely things to take into consideration if this is a life that you are wanting to pursue for yourself. And let me think if there are other negatives. Oh, okay, one more negative, which again isn't a negative that has like deterred me, because I feel like the flip side of this is really positive. But when you're freelancing, your work and your projects and your income are more insecure, obviously, than if you have a 9-to-5 and you have signed a long-term contract with this company and you know what you're going to be getting in the bank every single month. So what I've found is I've got a lot of different projects on the go, and it can fluctuate from month to month. I mean, now I've reached the point where it's relatively stable, but I am aware that like if I'm not putting the time in and putting the effort in to grow, it's not going to happen on its own. I'm not just going to be automatically promoted. Well, not automatically, I understand people work hard to get promotions, but I need to make that happen for myself. So there is a level of insecurity there that if you are someone that gets anxious and stressed, like that can be quite a lot. Again, if you're starting out, I think you have to accept some level of just letting it be and knowing that you're going to grow for the first few months. It's not going to happen overnight, as a lot of the, I don't know, gurus out there will promise. But enough with the negatives. Some of the positives of doing freelance digital nomad type work. One is on the flip side of your like income being insecure is that, and this is what motivates me the most, is that your income is not actually, there's no ceiling to it. So your time is your own and you get to decide, okay, how am I using this time wisely to create something that will benefit me in the long term. So how I've been thinking about it is, one is like building assets that are purely my own, that will hopefully bring in passive income as I build them. And so I know that even if I'm not seeing a return immediately, I know I'm building something that will benefit me in the long term. Obviously, as my skill grows and I get more confident, I can start to charge more. It's like if I can position myself well enough and offer something that is valuable enough, I'm able to actually earn quite a lot off of like a single package, and I can figure out the best way to like position myself based off the skills that I have and the market that I'm playing in. So there's something really exciting about that, about feeling like I'm the master of what I'm doing, and if I play my cards right and put in the work and put in the time, I can build something that is going to far outweigh if I just sat in a 9-to-5 job. And again, this doesn't work for everyone, but for me, it's something that really excites me and that I think about like every day. Then another thing which is also positive, even though it can have negative moments, like I mentioned, but it's being able to manage my own time. And I think when I started out, I did not use this to its full degree because I was just like so work obsessed. I was like, I have to make this work for myself. So I was literally working, like I'd wake up 6 a.m, do some exercise, work from like 7 a.m. to, honestly, I'd like go to bed with my laptop until like 10. Literally would not switch that thing off. Didn't, like, for the first 2 years, I was working Saturdays as well and then doing admin on Sundays. I like didn't take a holiday. I think I took like Christmas Day and Christmas Eve off and New Year's. I was so excited about what I was doing, but I didn't understand that I needed to pace myself, and now I've learned that a little bit better. And I've realized that one of the reasons that I wanted to create this life for myself was that I love being able to like go have a swim in the ocean, like go for breakfast with friends, manage my time and like have flexibility. And I wasn't actually using that. So now I'm a lot more intentional about being a bit more balanced, managing my time well, but also doing those random fun things that I want to do throughout my day or throughout my week. So that's something that's really cool about this lifestyle, I suppose. Third thing would obviously be travel. I love meeting new people and being in that environment of like being out of my comfort zone, but somehow knowing that like I'm gonna thrive because I'm like on edge and trying to figure things out. I haven't been traveling to that many new places. Like I've very much committed to being in Lisbon and in Cape Town, but I love being in a new city. It's a new energy, you meet new people. It's just like a really fun and enjoyable thing to do. And I also love being able to stay in one place for more than just like a 2-3 week holiday. You really get to know what it's like to live there and to, I don't know, find all your favorite things that you love to do, your favorite workout studios, your running route, your favorite cafes, all of that kind of stuff. Another positive is like just meeting really cool people, and now I'm talking about the work itself. It's amazing the kind of network you can create just by putting yourself out there and like doing a good job for one person, and then they refer you to another, and they refer you to another, and suddenly you're like, wow, I have met so many interesting people and founders who are doing really cool things. And yeah, you actually do get a chance to learn from different people. It's in a slightly different context, and obviously it would be like a lot of these people I'm speaking to over Zoom and over the phone, but it is a really cool thing to just be connecting with different people from around the world who are your clients. And that's been a very cool experience for me, because like I never would have met some of the people that I've met if I was doing something else. I think that's kind of obvious to say, and it would be true for anyone. But yeah, so that is there. I don't think there's any serious ugly to this, so that was just part of the clickbait title. There's no ugly part to my life or the work that I do. In fact, it's all generally really positive. And I'm leaving in 2 weeks' time to head back to Lisbon for a few months. Yeah, let me know what you thought of this video. It's slightly different to what I normally do, but I hope it was insightful nonetheless. And I'll see you next time.